Hello and welcome to New Mama Meg. I'm Meg. It's nice to see you again. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you found me. I've been working on New Mama Meg for 5 or 6 months now. And last week I reached 100 subscribers. So thank you if you're one of those 100 subscribers. It means so much to me. To those of you watching every week, I hope you find these videos valuable. And I hope you found 1 or 2 tricks that make your life as a new parent a little bit easier. So as I mentioned, I've been working on New Mama Meg for 5 or 6 months now, and Finn was just a little guy back then. He was, I guess, 6 or 7 months, I can't quite remember. And him turning 1 seems so far in the distant future. But guess what? He's 1. I can't believe it. My mind is boggled. I don't understand how I have a 1-year-old. It feels like he was born yesterday, not a year ago. So it's been hard. When I used to think about him turning 1, I would get like sick to my stomach, made me emotional, made me so sad. But as time went on, I was becoming more and more okay with the idea because it was inevitable. Obviously, he's gonna turn 1. So when his birthday actually did come around, I was very happy, very excited. It wasn't a sad day, it was an awesome day. It was so much fun. With all of that being said, in today's video, I'm gonna share with you all of the prep that went into throwing Finn's first birthday. I wasn't sure whether to call this video first birthday DIY or first birthday on a budget. There were so many hurdles and little challenges that went into planning this thing, so I'm just gonna talk about all of it. I'll take you through all the steps, every little thing that kind of got in the way, but let me tell you, at the end of the day, the party was great. Finn had so much fun. It was so special for us to see him be so happy. He was spoiled by our families, of course, no surprise there, and it was just overall such a special day. So let's get into it. Turning 1 is a big deal, not only for the baby, but for the parents as well. You have just survived your first year as a new parent. So technically you're not really a new parent anymore, but you have just survived a whole entire year caring for this little human being that's changing every single day right before your eyes. So if your 1-year-old's birthday is coming up, congratulations, you've almost made it. And there's no doubt this has to be one of the hardest years of your life. But with that being said, it was obviously also one of the best, if not the best year of your life as well. I can tell you as a new mom, there have been so many ups and downs. I've learned more in the past year than I've learned in my whole almost 31 years of life now. But at the same time, I have never felt this kind of love in my whole entire life, and it is just the most amazing thing. So when I started planning Finn's birthday, I had kind of a vision in my mind. I know I wanted to use more muted colors, so luckily I had a bunch of yarn that we had used to make this rainbow that's in his room. If you've seen my other videos, you've probably seen it over his crib. So I had a ton of that yarn left over. And because I wanted to use those muted colors, I ended up going with kind of an oatmeal beige color, this really nice blue, and this kind of dark sage green color. And with those colors, that was kind of how the rest of the theme took off. I knew I wanted to make some tassels, and originally I was gonna use tissue paper because I'd seen a tutorial online, but I couldn't buy that at the store. So luckily I had this giant bin of yarn, and all I did was go on YouTube, found a super easy tutorial on how to make these yarn tassels, and I went to work.
So to make these yarn tassels, it is so easy. I just used this book because the size was right, and I wrapped the yarn around it, I think it was about 50 times. So depending on how big or small or thick or whatever, however big you want it, you can wrap it around more or less than 50 times. It's totally up to you. Next, you want to add about a 10-inch piece of yarn just at one end of the loop, and that's going to be what you use to tie it to the banner at the end. Next, you want to take another piece of yarn. It can be about 6 inches long, and sorry, Hazel is blocking the view here, but look how cute she is. Aw, here she comes. So with that piece of yarn, you're going to tie it about 1.5 inches down from the end that already has the extra tie on the top. And that's what's going to make that kind of bubble at the top. Once you've done that, you cut the loop at the bottom to kind of free the ends, and you have your tassel.
So the next thing I wanted to make was a happy birthday banner. Luckily, my sister has a Cricut, and we went over to my mom's house one day and spent the entire day doing Cricut stuff. So first we started with the happy birthday banner, which turned out so cute, and you'll see it as everything kind of comes together. And then I also knew that I wanted to make a banner of Finn's monthly pictures. So we cut out little circles with the little numbers so that I could take the pictures that I had taken over the last year and put them on this banner and string it together. This was great actually because it gave me an excuse to finally print those pictures, and now I've put them in his baby book as well. So I highly recommend doing this for the first birthday. It's also so cool to see how they've changed because yeah, you can see it on your phone, you can scroll, whatever. But for some reason, having them printed and having them all laid out beside each other, you can really see all the changes they've gone through over the past year. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you can't get what you need from the stores, find yourself a friend with a Cricut, or you can even order things like this on Etsy. People do custom orders of everything. So I would definitely recommend looking into that. Otherwise, if you have a sister or a friend or somebody who does this on the side, have them help you out. This was perfect because it was personalized, it was cute. I could use colors that coordinated with everything else that I was doing. And it was also very, very, very inexpensive. The amount that I spent on the cardstock as well as printing the photos was maybe $10 for this banner. And I had seen some online and they were definitely way more expensive than that. So if you're doing it on a budget, do it this way.
After we spent the day cutting everything out, I took it home and started to glue it all down. One thing I would say is that if I did it again, I wouldn't use glue. The cardstock that I bought wasn't the thickest or the heaviest, so when I used the glue, the paper ended up kind of curling a little bit, so next time I would probably use double-sided tape to just avoid that altogether. I obviously tried to use this cookie sheet to weigh everything down, but I was too lazy to go get something that weighed more that would actually have an impact, so oopsie.
I had also seen this really cute pom-pom cake topper. This was the inspiration. And so because it's me, I was like, oh, I'm not buying this, I can recreate this myself. So again, looked up a tutorial on YouTube and figured out how to make yarn pom-poms, and they were super easy and they turned out really cute.
It probably took about 5 minutes to make each pom-pom. Luckily, I was only making 3. They were so easy to make, just a little time consuming because you did have to do all that trimming to make sure you got the perfect shape. But they turned out so cute.
The main decoration for this whole party was going to be this big happy birthday wall. I knew I wanted to have something like this so we could take really great photos to remember his first birthday. So when I was looking online, I'd seen all these really cool wood kind of skid looking walls. So that was the plan. Dan was gonna find some skids, we were gonna build a big wall, decorate it, whatever. We quickly realized that in order to get the size that we would want, it would have been so heavy and just so inconvenient to kind of move around if we needed to. Aside from that, the cost of lumber right now is absolutely insane. So we couldn't just build a wooden wall because it would have cost so much money. And obviously this is a birthday on a budget. So we scrapped that plan. So instead of all that, Dan was able to find some very, very thin, I don't even know what it's called. I'll put the name up here. But anyway, these thin boards at the local hardware store. And then he found some old lumber from our deck that was in the garage. And he was able to build these 2 panels that we would eventually put together. I think the finished product was around 8 by 8 feet. So it was plenty big, but because it was in the 2 pieces, it was a lot easier to move.
I have this weird quirk where I don't like anything I see at the store or online, and I always want something that's not available or just simply doesn't exist. So I am very thankful that I have a husband who will build these things that I dream up in my head. I'm also super cheap, so if I know that we can make it ourselves for a lot cheaper, then that's usually what happens.
Once the wall was built, it was light enough for my mom and I to carry downstairs. We bought 13 or 14 rolls of this Mac tack that looked like wood. It wasn't perfect. I would have preferred something more like rustic looking, but again, we were working with what we had. It was $1.25 per roll, and we spent a couple hours on my mom's birthday, actually, bless her heart. Like, that's how she spent her birthday this year. But we covered these 2 boards, and although they weren't exactly the look I wanted, they were perfect for what we needed them for. So all of that prep was done about a week before his actual birthday. So on the Friday before his birthday, I got his cakes ready because I wanted them to be fresh, but I knew I wouldn't have time on the Saturday morning to get them all done. So I baked them and then I got them all iced and ready to go. I did them super simple. I knew he was gonna destroy them. Why am I gonna make some big extravagant 3 or 4 tiered cake? Yes, it would have looked really cute, but to me it just didn't make sense to put all that effort into something he was gonna destroy.
I had a very small cake board under the cake, and then I put that on top of this cardboard board that was gonna sit in the fridge until we needed the cake, and that's why the cake is so wobbly here. If you're doing this yourself, I recommend not doing it this way, and actually if you want to freeze the cakes before you ice them, and then also securely attach your cake to a board, and you won't have this shifty problem that I was having here.
So as I mentioned, the wall was gonna be the big decoration of the party. So I didn't wanna just leave this wall plain, just like the wood Mac tack on there. So I ordered a balloon arch. Again, birthday on a budget. I got a quote for one and it was gonna be over $300. So I definitely was not gonna spend that money, not a chance. But you can order these balloon arches that you do have to make yourself, but you can order all the bits and pieces you need to make one yourself on Amazon. You can get them at Michael's. You can even get them at the dollar store now. I mean, they're not huge, but you can get multiple and then ended up building this arch. So I ordered this balloon arch from Amazon. You can see the price is right. The colors weren't perfect, but again, because it's me, I was gonna find a way to make this work. I love the green, but the gold was just not something I wanted to have. So I did a bunch of research and figured out that you can do these double stuffed balloons. So basically, you take whatever balloon you want, whatever color, and you stuff it inside of a white balloon. You can also use black balloons, but do it the other way around depending on what kind of color you want. But this makes them look more muted or more pastel color. So because I knew this kit was coming with gold balloons, I bought white balloons that I could stuff the gold ones into to create kind of like a beige color, which would then go with my oatmeal beige yarn tassel things that I'd made earlier.
I found the easiest way to double stuff them was to roll the balloon and then just stick it in as far as you could and then finish it off with the pen to get it to the end of the balloon.
So the arch that I ordered was 16 feet long, and then I ended up ordering some blue balloons as well that I stuffed into white balloons to make more of a muted blue. It didn't turn out exactly how I would have liked it because it didn't quite match the blue on the tassels or the pom-poms. But again, I was working with what I could get. But overall, the look was really nice and I was very happy with how it turned out. We did this on the Friday night before his birthday. I didn't want to do it earlier because I didn't want the balloons to deflate, and it came together so quickly.
I'm going to share with you a few of the lessons I learned while building this balloon arch. So 1, invest in an electric balloon pump. So the little pink thing you see on the floor there, it was around $30, but it was an absolute lifesaver. So I definitely recommend buying that. Next up, make sure you have a buddy to help you with this because it's not a small job. Now, I don't know what they're called, but I highly recommend buying or investing in a balloon tire. You can get something that kind of protects your finger. Some of the electric pumps actually come with one of these. Of course, the one that I got did not, and my fingers were raw by the end of the night from tying these balloons. And then 2 tips for the double stuffed balloons. For the normal size balloons, you want to give them a little pump with the hand pump first. That will stretch them out and make it much easier when you're using the electric pump. If you're trying to blow up 5-inch balloons, which are quite small, and they're double stuffed, it will not work with the electric pump. So get yourself a hand pump for that. Another super important tip is to enjoy an adult beverage while you're building this balloon arch. After we blew up all the balloons, we started to attach them to this clear strip that came in the balloon arch kit. You take all the medium-sized balloons in whatever pattern or order that you want, and you just pull the knot through the little hole on the clear strip. To get through all the balloons, I would say this took us about an hour, but it was really cool to see it come together and finally start taking shape. To attach it to the wall, Dan just stapled some fishing wire to the top of the wall and then tied it around that clear strip that I was talking about earlier. It does take a couple minutes to kind of figure out where you want to put it, and it definitely helps to have an extra set of eyes, someone who can kind of stand back and make sure it's going to go in the right spot. Once it was secure on the wall, we started to add in those extra balloons that came with the kit. Started by using the 5-inch balloons and just filling in any holes that we could see. And then finally we added those large 18-inch balloons and that just brought it all together.
On the morning of his party, I couldn't do much until he was down for his first nap. As soon as he went down, we went full speed ahead and got the rest of the decorations put up. The house was clean. We're cutting it very close, but overall, we made it. And here's a closer look of all the decorations. There was no doubt in my mind that Finn was gonna be very good at eating this smash cake. I feel like a lot of times you see these videos and you think the kids are just gonna get in there, they're gonna smush it around, but then the kids get scared or they're nervous, they don't know what to do. But no, not with Finn. Obviously, this is what happened. So he figured out that there was a little hole, he stuck his finger in there, ate the icing, and right away he did his usual like, and he was so excited. So anyway, it didn't take long for him to get the hang of it.
I'm just gonna let this clip play because you have to see all the cute expressions on his face. He was so happy.
We did eventually have to take it away because A, he was gonna have to have another cake later, and B, I was really hoping he would have a nap in between the two parties. And I did not want him to have this crazy sugar high considering he's never had icing before, so yeah. All in all, I'm so happy with how everything turned out. I did kind of feel like I didn't have enough decorations when I was doing it, but then I was like, whatever, less is more. Big decoration was the wall with the balloons, and it looked so good. I was so happy with how it turned out. And then we just had other decorations here and there, and everything tied together so well. So even if you aren't super crafty, it's okay. There are YouTube tutorials everywhere on how to make decorations. And if you want to do this on a budget, there's definitely a way to do it. This last year has been so challenging, but also amazing in so many different ways. And I'm just so grateful that we were able to celebrate his birthday with the people that love him the most. With all of that said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do want any tutorials on how I made certain things, whether it's the tassels or the pom-poms or anything like that, let me know. And maybe I'll do some crafting videos, why not? That could be kind of fun. Also, I'll put the link for the balloon arch in the description bar below. And I have noticed that Amazon is taking quite a while to ship. So if you are gonna order this, make sure you order it at least a month in advance because it just seems to be taking a lot longer lately. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, New Mama Meg, and you can also follow us on Instagram at New Mama Meg. I know I say New Mama Meg all the time, but that's my name. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.